Phone is built everywhere in the world. We have key components coming from the United States with key parts that are in China and so on and so forth. When you look at the parts that are done in China, we have reopened factories. So the factories were able to work through the conditions to reopen. They're reopening. They're also in ramp. And so I think of this as sort of the third phase of getting back to normal. And we're in phase 3 of the ramp mode.
So that sounds very positive. In fact, in our interview, he says that he sees these disruptions as only being temporary, and that was a word that he used. But with Apple stock down from recent highs, that means it's also an opportunity for the company to buy them back, as they have spent about $100 billion worth or so. Listen. You might be able to get Apple at a discount, at a 15% discount.
We are a buyer, right? You know, we have a share repurchase planned, and so, yes.
This might be an opportunity to maybe up those share repurchases for Apple.
I don't want to announce anything on the air, but everybody knows that we're buying shares, and if the stock is lower, you buy more shares for the same amount of money. So.
And if Apple does buy back their own shares, that also takes the supply out of the market and lifts the stock price as well. But from my talking with him and Tim Cook, I don't get any sense of panic. And as he said, it looks like it's only temporary.
I think they buy like $65 million worth of their own stock every day.
$100 billion so far in their share repurchase, but they have $230 billion of cash on hand, so they can't afford it.
They can't afford it, and by the way, it's been a pretty good investment. Once again, Susan, congratulations. That was fantastic. And folks, make sure you watch the second part of her exclusive interview with Tim Cook at 3 p.m. Eastern Time. All right, moving into gold was a brilliant move this year, but that safe haven has struggled this week. While those bond yields also seem maybe like they're finding a floor. So where should investors be looking now? I want to go to Kingsview Wealth Management CIO, Fox Business contributor Scott Martin, because, Scott, you've been sounding the alarm on gold for a long time now. And Alicia Levine is back with us as well from BNY Mellon. Scott, first of all, congratulations. You told people to be cautious. You said shift into gold. And, it's been a wonderful, wonderful trade. And people saved a lot of money if they listened to you. But gold has been wobbly this week. What's going on?
Yeah, that was a great trade. I felt even better until today, Charles. And then it happens. I mean, gold did provide what I wanted it to, which was a valuable non-correlating asset class over the course of the first 4, let's say, or 3.5 days this week. But going on is just the following, Charles. You know, there's a lot of liquidity rushing around in this market. The market is incredibly volatile across all asset classes, not just gold, but certainly equities and bonds. So we're seeing general rotation. But I'm actually going to say this as a gold holder, as we still have it. We bought some more today. I'm glad to see it going down, my friend, because this is part of the ending, in my opinion, of the equity, yes, to use a word, barf, in the sense of they're starting to sell things that are up. They're going to probably sell bonds next, and therefore that means that equities are going to see some money flows here, I think, pretty soon.
Now, of course, last time you were with us, Scott, you mentioned stocks as well. I mean, you're using gold, maybe, I know that you have some equity positions, and there's got to be some names that look a lot more attractive today than the last time we spoke.
Yeah, there's plenty. And frankly, Charles, we'd go back to the names we talked about just about a year ago, or a week ago, rather, which were the ServiceNows, the NVIDIAs, the Workdays, which had great earnings. Microsoft looks amazing today. Those are areas that we've started to pick up again because they put in a blow-off type top last week, and we talked about that on the show, similar to what kind of gold has done this week. So, to me, those are areas where we can start picking off a little bit of, say, some bottom feeding here. Even if they go lower, that's okay, because we're starting to leg in at these levels.
Right. No one's trying to pick the precise bottom. Alicia, I do think it's interesting in the sense that when this whole thing started, it was all about China being, the central part of the global economy, particularly as the supply chain. And in the last 2 weeks, the numbers or the data out of China has gotten a lot better. And whether it's, it's data on traffic, pollution, just any way you can measure an economy, it's gotten somewhat better. And Wall Street has largely ignored that. What's the news we need to see vis-a-vis coronavirus that will get Wall Street's attention? other than the treatment?
So as we sit here Friday afternoon, going into a weekend of uncertainty, we're actually going to get China data this weekend. We're going to get PMIs over the weekend. So we'll see pretty quickly what this has done to activity in China. It is true that if you look at rail traffic and highway traffic and electricity usage and coal usage, it's trending upward, but it's still very, very low. It's still 60% off the high. So you'd actually like to see that move higher. To
asset allocation at this point? Asset
allocation, we're still keeping neutral on equities. We're keeping the same allocations. We believe ultimately this is going to be an air pocket that you buy this summer will be in the rearview mirror. America's still open for business. We've got the greatest corporates. We think earnings will be lower than what was expected, even a month ago, but we're going to be all right in terms of the actual economy here in the U.S.
Scott, earlier in the show, I had our friend Heather Zumaraga on, and I said there are going to be sessions soon when the Dow's up 600, 700, 800 points, and she kind of chuckled at me.
I saw that.
I don't think that's far-fetched, though. I mean, no. There's certain news things that could in the pump, I think, that can come out and get, even if they're just temporary relief rallies.
Yeah, Charles, and we've had kind of half of those sessions already. In fact, partly today, we've had these 500-point rallies in a snap, and so she may not be laughing but crying if she misses those. But I'll tell you, those sessions are coming sooner than later because if you take your own mental temperature in the last couple days and you felt sick to your stomach about the stock market, I mean, I myself personally felt like strangling myself with my cordless phone. Those are things that are going to be preemptive to a big market rally that we should all hopefully take part in.
Well, I want to thank Scott and Alicia. Thank you both very, very much. Folks, the Dow's